Lord. Okay, everybody, I am back, and my apologies for the sudden interruption of my stream. I'm doing good, Jamal Adams. How are you? One second here. Let me clean these glasses off. I got about 19 pairs of these damn glasses. Um, so anyway, I blew a fuse, and and everything, the electricity, everything went out for a split second, but it was enough to kill the stream. So I had to go to the fuse box and all that shit, and now I'm back. So, so before we were so rudely interrupted by, don't mind this little piece of tape on the side of my glasses. I got so many glasses. Show you all these glasses that I got. Like, and this is just in here. I got like just on this coffee table alone, I got about 7 pairs of reading glasses. But they all different. You know, they range anywhere from 1.0 to 3.75, which is the highest. And I got these ones taped because I think these are I think these are 1.25s. And I think this one right here, as of right now, is the perfect pair of glasses that still lets me see far away but able to read somewhat up close. But right now my vision's at a point where if I want to read something up close, I got to put on some powerful glasses to read it up close. And if I want to see something far away, then I have to put on a different pair of glasses. So it's like if I want to see something far away, I got to put on some glasses that are 1.0, 1.25, even 1.50. And if I want to read something, I got to wear something that's like 2.5 or higher. So I'm kind of caught in no man's land with that. So thank God for places like Dollar Tree, because these reading glasses that I'm wearing are $1. So I mean, I've been to other places like one time I went into Family Fair to buy some reading glasses, and those things was like $12. And I said, you got to be kidding me! But they didn't look any different from what I'm wearing. I said, hell with that, never again. So whenever I go into Dollar Tree and I feel like I need some reading glasses, I'll buy 3-4 of them, because they are cheap glasses and they will break over time unless unless it's these metal ones. But these ones, I like these ones because I can see and it doesn't look so obvious. Wearing these damn glasses right here with these gold frames and shit like that, I feel like he bought. One second, folks. I gotta blow my nose. Sorry about that. Okay, so as I was saying before I lost connection, before I get into the topics here, I stopped in at GameStop and I stopped in at Best Buy. I went in there to pay on my Best Buy card. And if you're an electronics nut, you're a true gamer. Every time you go into a Best Buy, a GameStop, even a Walmart, you're going to go into the electronics section and you're going to check out the TVs. You're going to go to the video game section. You're going to go to the PC section. And, and I did notice at Best Buy that they did have a couple of Oculus Rift S in stock, but they didn't have any Oculus Quest. And then the other thing that I noticed at both GameStop and Best Buy is that the Xbox One X looks to be down to I'm guessing it's a permanent price of $350. I say to that, is too little, too late. And in my opinion, not only that, at this stage of the generation, I still think $350 is too much. Because you're paying $350 for a third party console that doesn't have the exclusives that's supposed to take advantage of that so-called power that the X has. But knowing what we know about the X right now, as far as I'm concerned, the Xbox One X doesn't have any more power than the PlayStation Pro does, because by now I think it's become kind of obvious that when developers try to make games look better on the Xbox One X, it comes at the expense of performance. The better the games look on the Xbox One X, the worse they run. Screen tearing and frame drops and that kind of stuff. So, and I've seen some videos where people were talking about rumors coming out where Microsoft was ordering developers to make the X version look better than the Pro. And to me, it seems like if that's true, they weren't concerned about the compromise in performance. I think that further damaged the reputation of the console. So, but in any case, I feel like it's too little, too late. The PlayStation Pro is still $400. The Xbox One X, for the first time, appears to be cheaper than the PlayStation Pro, but I think it's too little, too late. I think the Xbox One X should have launched at a price of $350 or $400. I think if it would have launched at that price, I think they would have probably did a little bit better. But you price a console $500 and you got no exclusives to justify it, and it's about to happen all over again with the Xbox Series X. They about to charge maybe $600 and telling you straight to your face they're not going to have any exclusives for a couple of years. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't see any reason to buy that console. But at this point, I'm still planning on moving forward with getting a PlayStation 5 day one. I still pretty much got most of my money set to the side for it. And then if PlayStation VR 2 launches alongside of it, I'll be getting that too. So I suspect that if PlayStation VR 2 launches alongside the console, that I'll probably be spending anywhere from $800 to $1,000 for both the console and the headset. But I'm prepared to pay it. Cold Yogurt, what's up? So I think there was something else that I was going to mention too. So I guess real quick, before we get into the meats and potatoes of this podcast, we did have a update today for Beat Sabre. There's 3 new songs, 3 free songs. I can't remember the name of the group where these songs are coming from. I tried them and they didn't do anything for me. To me it sounds like Japanese techno. I do believe it is. I do believe this is a Japanese group, or the music is Japanese, but it sounds like Japanese techno. I don't have anything against it. It just don't do anything for me because, given my age, you would expect, you could pretty much guess what kind of music I like to listen to. With me being 52 years old, I like listening to old school R&B, from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even some parts of the 90s. I think today's so-called R&B is just straight up garbage, so I really don't listen to much music from today. I go back and listen to the old school stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I definitely had to get Beat Sabre on PC, so I could go back and add old school tracks that I grew up off of, because I absolutely love, like playing Kool and the Gang on Beat Sabre. I absolutely love that. That's not to say that they my favorite group. They definitely up there. But there's so many damn songs that I love from back then, the old school days. But let's go ahead and get into the topics here, and because in my opinion, it's kind of a lot to talk about. So I mean, I could have waited till Saturday to do this, but I wanted to talk about this while I felt like it was still somewhat of a hot subject. So for that, I've got to go to Twitter. Let me sort through one of these 98 pairs of reading glasses. Okay, so also give a shout out to JTech TV. He sent me an overlay to use, and I told him I would use it on my next podcast, but I'll use it on the one after that. So, see Slim, what is good, my guy? So let's get into this. Damn. Okay, so I'm going to read this article, and I'm going to put this chart up while I'm reading this article. There we go. So what this is let me move that. This is top VR headsets by sales for Q4 of 2019. As you guys see, the PlayStation VR led Q4 sales with 338,000 units sold. The Oculus Quest came in second with 317,000, followed by the Valve Index with 103,000, which I think is a little bit of a surprise, especially that we'll get to this article. And then the Oculus Go, I'm surprised that's still hanging around. And then the Oculus Rift S is bringing up the rear, which I think was a little bit surprising and actually a little bit disappointing. So I think people don't realize what a great headset the Oculus Rift S is. So now I'm going to go ahead, and this comes from Super Data XR. So I'm going to read the article related to this chart that I'm showing you. Code Yogurt. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is a hard game. I'm at Half-Life right now. You know what? I actually meant to talk about that a little bit too, because I'm curious about the game, but man, I do not want to spend $40 on the game, because I said this before on a couple of other podcasts that based on what I'm seeing right now, I feel the same way about The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners as I did about Boneworks. And the situation with Boneworks is I didn't see anything that blew me away about Boneworks. Let me shut this thing up. I didn't see anything about Boneworks that blew me away. My interest in Boneworks was just to see just how interactive the game was. Everybody was talking about the physics and making it sound like you can walk into any room and grab just about any object that you see. So I wanted to see if that was true. So Boneworks for the most part does not have much of a campaign, but the game kept my attention because I wanted to see just how interactive it is. So in my case, I've said it before, it wasn't so much about what you can do, it was what you can't do. I was trying to look around in rooms to see what you cannot do to determine how interactive this game is. And that's where I'm at with The Walking Dead. Everybody's talking about, they're feeling like, not everybody, but people are talking about this game as if it's getting ready to, take us into the next level of VR. In terms of interaction, they think they feel like this game is kind of like a taste of what you're gonna see for Half-Life Alyx, and really with The Walking Dead, Uh, the biggest interest of that game for me is basically to see how many different ways you can kill a zombie. Um, if it looks like something that could get repetitive, then I would lose interest in it really quick. But I'm curious enough that I tried to contact the developer on their own website, and when I tried to hit the send button to send them an email, it wasn't working. So I tried to reach them on their Twitter page, and I sent them a message through Twitter and asked for a review key, and I haven't gotten a response back yet. I don't even think they read it yet. So I might go back to their website and try to contact them again and ask for a key through their website again. But $40 is a little bit steep in my opinion. But I will say that if the Oculus Quest version of The Walking Dead was out right now, I might be willing to go ahead and buy it, because I wouldn't feel so bad about paying $40, to have it on the Rift S and the Quest. So getting back to this super data about the top VR headsets sold in the fourth quarter, and I'm going to try not to get off subject again. I'm going to try to make my point and then come back. So you said it's a survival horror. Some are venomous. Okay, so let me go ahead and get into the super data article. It says Superdata has released its projections of the XR market through 2023. Oh, no. That's not the one I want, because that's a XR, some XR shit. I want here we go. VR demand outstripped supply during the holiday season. Valve sold 149,000 Index headsets in 2019. Sales more than double from Q3 to Q4, 103,000, thanks to anticipation for Half-Life Alyx, which was announced in November and is slated to arrive in March. The Index sold more units than any other PC VR headset during the quarter, despite a steep price of up to $1,000. It would have sold even more if not for inventory issues. The device is currently sold out worldwide. You said look at the Valve sales Cold Yogurt. Now here's the thing. This is just for the fourth quarter. That is impressive, because currently the Valve Index sits on, according to this article, they're sitting on 149,000 units sold, but they sold 103,000 units in Q4, and that's because of Half-Life Alyx. Everybody's trying to get them an Index to get ready for Half-Life Alyx. So for a headset that costs $100,000 like that, that's impressive that they sold that many units, in one quarter. And I think that the fact that the Valve Index is sold out, I don't think they anticipated the demand for that headset to jump up that high. I mean, I think that I think they probably figured that once they announced Half-Life Alyx, it was probably going to sell a few headsets, but I don't think they anticipated the shit to skyrocket the way it did. So hey, $1,000 is a little bit steep for me, but shout out to Valve. Congratulations on selling that many headsets, especially at a price that costs an arm and a leg. But hey, it's still is growth for the VR community, so I'm all for that. So, continuing on with this article, the Oculus Quest sold 705,000 units during 2019, more than the Oculus Go and the Oculus Rift S combined. The simplicity of the Quest appealed to mainstream consumers and made it a hot holiday gift item. It sold 317,000 during Q4, putting it slightly behind the PlayStation VR at 338K, which was the quarter's best-selling VR headset. The Quest may have taken the title of top headset of the quarter if more stock was available. Like the Index, the Quest was periodically sold out during parts of Q4. So, you said I have the Valve Index. It's nice. I'm used to the glare now. You know, Anthony of VR365 says that glare is like pretty doggone bad with the Valve Index, and that's really something that made me apprehensive about even thinking about getting a Valve Index. Is $1,000 for this glare that they're talking about? You know, I mean, he even talked about on his show where a couple of YouTubers that he knows that they sent their indexes back because of the glare was so bad. Christopher Hart, Quest is extremely popular. Exactly. So looking at this chart, I'm glad we finally got some numbers for the year, because I really didn't know where the Quest was sitting at in terms of how many headsets they sold for the entire year. So they're sitting on 705,000 for the year. Myself, you said you saw the show. Okay, so with the Oculus Quest, I believe that the shortage that they're going through right now, I think is real. But I think there was a point during this year when I wondered if Oculus had created a false shortage, and if that's what they did, I don't want to say it backfired, but I think they shortchanged themselves. C Slim, what's up? I think I said what's up to you, but if I missed you, my bad. What's going on, my guy? Christopher Hart, I have the Samsung Odyssey, and I must get a gaming PC soon. I won the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners and Final Assault for free. God damn! I want that. I don't want to pay for. I have to play my PSVR games. Oh yeah, absolutely. So bottom line with the Oculus Quest is, if they would have been able to meet demand, I do believe that not only would they have beaten PlayStation VR for the top spot of Q4 of 2019, I think they would have over 1 million headsets sold by now. They're sitting on 705,000 headsets, and they are selling them. I think I believe that through the first, let me see where we at now. Let me see. You got because the Oculus Quest launched in May 21st, 2019. I had looked that up, so I'll just like kind of chalk that up as the end of May. So you got all of June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So 7 months they sold 705,000 units. In my opinion, that's roughly 100,000 units a month. I think they would have been able to sell 150,000 had they been able to keep up with demand, and I think they would be over 1 million by now. But even with the shortages going on of the Oculus Quest, they are still outpacing the PlayStation VR, I believe, throughout the first 7 months of its life cycle. Because when I was, when I got my PlayStation VR and I started trying to follow the numbers, because the media was trying to beat they were trying to beat the PlayStation VR up, say a lot of bad shit about the PlayStation VR. And in my opinion, I felt like the media was trying to sabotage the PlayStation VR. When we got the first reported numbers that I saw of the PlayStation VR, it was through the first 10 months they had sold 750,000 units. And I think, which was pretty good considering that the SKUs cost $400 and $500 respectively. Even though they were the cheapest of the major headsets, that's still a lot of money. But I think 750,000 through the first 10 months at the time I thought was decent. I wanted it to be more, but I still thought that was decent. So now you have the Oculus Quest which is sitting on 705,000 through the first 7 months. So you know that when they hit the 10-month mark, they're definitely, in my opinion, if they can keep up with demand, I would say that they're going to hit, at least 800,000 through the first 10 months, maybe 850,000. And I think that by the time they hit the 1 year mark, which will be May 21st, 2020, I think they will have sold, over 1 million headsets. And I think if they can keep up with demand, I think by this time next year, they will be sitting on 2.5 million headsets sold if they can keep up with demand. Now, there's supposed to be some other headsets coming. We got the Pico Neo 2, which in my opinion is not going to be a competitor to the Quest, even though it's a standalone headset, because this thing is supposed to be primarily for enterprise use. But somebody's going to try to test out some games on that headset. And even if it plays games pretty good, that's fine and dandy. But, the Quest has two advantages over the Pico Neo. And one is price, $400 versus, I think, $700. And then I think the Pico Neo 2 with the eye tracking, I think, is $900. So the Quest definitely has them beat by price. And then they got to jump on them, with the library. Oculus has the library. So I think at first I had said that, because of this Qualcomm situation with that chipset and all that shit, that, other standalone headsets are supposed to be on the way to compete with the Quest. At first I was like, this shit gonna be a damn, tornado when these other headsets get here. But it's not. The Quest is still gonna kick their ass because they got the library, in all likelihood. They're still going to be the cheapest out of these headsets, because I think when these new headsets come along, they're going to come in at a price of probably $500 or better, in my opinion. So none of these standalone headsets are going to be a threat to the Quest in the immediate future. So I think the Quest is going to rule the standalone VR landscape for a few more years. With that being said, again, I think at this time next year, the Oculus Quest is going to be sitting on 2.5 million headsets sold, and if they can keep up with demand, I believe that they can probably catch the PlayStation VR, probably in another 2 years. So I think that I think it would take the Oculus Quest. I think it would take them 3 years to crack 5 million. But the Oculus, what's making the Oculus Quest so hot is that it's appealing to the mainstream, and it's not a situation where, in the case of the PlayStation VR, that was basically Sony trying to, in my opinion, sell it to their own existing customers. So I don't think it was a case of the PlayStation VR. I don't think it was a case of somebody wanting VR so bad that they went and bought a PlayStation and a VR at the same time. I think it was a case of them already having a PlayStation and deciding to give the VR a try. So, Cold Yogurt, I would recommend the Pimax Artisan Bundle, including the Valve Knuckles and Base Station. Cost is less than the Valve Bundle. Yeah, but I keep on, on several occasions, I've seen some videos that had a headline referencing that the Pimax headset were breaking, and then those things, costing $1,500, $2,000 or some mess like that. Ugh, no way. I don't know about this Pimax Artisan Bundle or whatever, but it really doesn't matter, because I don't think there's any headsets out there right now that's going to get me off of the Rift S right now anyway. And the crazy part about it is, when the Rift S first came out, because in my opinion, the inside out tracking had not been proven, and that headset went from 90 hertz to 80 hertz, I felt like $400 was a slightly steep price for the Rift S. I thought they should have sold it at about that headset at about $350. But now that I see what the market looks like, the Rift S is well worth the $400 that it costs. And so that, so when you look at this chart right here, even though the Oculus Rift S has been sold out here and there, I thought they sold, well, 71,000. That's for the quarter. I'd be curious to see what their numbers are for the entire year of 2019. But I thought it would have done better. But hey, it is what it is. I thought it would have done better. I hoped it would have done better. But still a great headset, no less. So I think that's about all I got on that subject. So moving on to the next subject. And this is about the PlayStation VR 2. Now, I think in my last podcast or sometime last week, the developers of the Titanic and the Apollo 11 experience, they had an investors meeting to bring their investors up to speed. And according to what I had read, they explained to investors that they did turn a profit, but they fell short of their goal. But they wanted to reassure investors that 2020 was going to be a better year because the headsets are already out there, so the games are going to start coming in for 2020. And they also said that the PSVR 2 was going to launch this year alongside the console. So that became a little bit of a subject. I mean, it wasn't something that was on fire or anything like that. But so when I first read that article, I felt like it might be a credible, a very credible statement to the investors, because they developed a couple of games that was on the PlayStation VR platform. So I figured that, if they might have some, inside knowledge that they probably, in my opinion, were probably supposed to keep their mouth shut about. But I'm not saying that what they said is law, but I figure if they say that the headset is coming this year, they probably definitely know more than I would. So I just took it like, okay, if we get it this year, great. If you don't, you don't. But, but when I first read that article, nothing jumped out to me and be like, oh, these people don't know what they talking about. They don't know what the fuck's going on with Sony. They don't know when the headset's coming out or something like that. They definitely know more. They definitely know more than I do. So who am I to try to say that, that their statement that the headset was coming out this year carries any weight, and then they're talking to investors too. And I'd imagine that as a whole, all their investors are probably investing, in order to try to keep these investors committed to them. We probably talking about hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars from investors. So I would like to think that you're not going to deliberately spread false information to investors like that, because the information you give them, I would be led to believe that the information that you would give them on the future will play a huge part in whether they decide to stay invested in your company or not. I would imagine that if you tell them that the future looks bleak, that they're going to pull their money. So today on Upload VR, there was an article saying that no, the PSVR 2 is not confirmed. So I'm going to go to this article and I'm going to read it. Twitter. Profile. So yeah, I'm going to pretty much read this article in its entirety. Okay, so the headline reads, no, a VR developer did not confirm PSVR 2 is coming this year. So, PSVR 2 rumors snowballed last week when an investor report from a PSVR developer suggested Sony will release a new version of the PlayStation VR headset in 2020. We've confirmed that this comment was made in error. The claim was made in a trading update report from Titanic VR developer Immersive VR Education. The full statement reads, 2020 will see Sony release the PlayStation 5 and a new version of the PlayStation VR headset, which will further expand the high-end VR user base. The group intends to support this device with its current suite of showcase software. That's a quote from them talking to their investors. So the next paragraph says PSVR 2 rumors debunked. The statement was picked up by some as confirmation that Sony would launch PSVR 2 alongside PS5. The new console is coming holiday 2020. However, previous quotes from Sony itself suggested we won't see true PSVR 2 until after the launch of the PS5. Sony has said the upcoming PS5 will be backwards compatible with the current generation PSVR. With that in mind, it seemed unlikely that this developer knew a headset would, in fact, be launching this year. So, right there, let me stop you right there. He said it seemed unlikely that this developer knew a headset would, in fact, be launching this year. If they didn't know that, why would they go spread information to developers who are probably investing hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, and whether they stay invested in you or not all depends on what you are telling them, what the future holds for this company. Reading on, we reached out to David Whalen, CEO of Immersive VR Education, for clarification. He confirmed to us that the original statement was indeed a mistake. That statement was picked up in error from a trading update sent out to our investors. Whalen told us in an email, we mentioned to our investor relations company that we intend to fully support the PS5 with our current suite of software. We are not confirming that there is a PSVR 2 version in the works. Our investor relation company picked it up as a new headset for PS5, which might not necessarily be the case. So there you go. Then this one was a mistake, not a leaked bit of insider information. We still don't have any actual indication of when PSVR 2 will be releasing, but we sure hope it's sooner rather than later. Other comments from Sony suggest the eventual headset could have improved resolution, a wider field of view, and even wireless support. So, they're trying to say that there was a breakdown in communication between this developer and their investor relations company, which I imagine that they probably relay the information to the investors. You don't make a mistake. To me, if you're sending a message out to a relations company who's going to deliver this message to investors secondhand, in my opinion, you want to make sure you get this shit absolutely right and don't spread information so the news that reaches the investors secondhand isn't fucked up news. I truly believe that they knew what they were saying when they said that a headset might be coming out this year. I'm not buying this shit that it was a mistake and that there was some kind of breakdown in communication between them and the relations company. I don't buy that shit because you're trusting the relations. You're trusting let me dismiss this. So you're trusting a relations company to deliver messages to investors, and I would believe that you want to make sure you got this information right, word for word. It would seem to me that this relations company, if this I would be led to believe that, like, if I'm the relations company, in the way I receive the information, if it sounds like the developer is telling me that a new headset is coming out this year alongside the console, I would go back to them and be like, wait a minute, you're saying that the headset is coming out this year? Let me make sure I got this right before I go relay this information to our investors. Are you saying that a new headset is going to come out this year? I don't believe that shit. I don't believe this shit for 1 minute. You can't tell me that there was some miscommunication and a breakdown in communications, and that investors was delivered misinformation secondhand. I'm not buying that shit. I truly believe that this went one of two ways. I think that one is that their original statement is the truth, that the headset might be coming out this year, which rumors are flying around that during this so-called reveal next month that we might get some information about PSVR 2. I believe that the original statement they made could be true, that the headset could be coming out this year, but they probably were not supposed to reveal that information. But they probably revealed that information in an attempt to make sure that their investors stay committed to the company. So they probably opened their mouth and revealed some information that they probably weren't supposed to reveal. And who knows? Sony probably called them and said, wait a minute, you were supposed to keep your mouth shut about that shit. And now they coming back saying that, no, we got it all wrong. We didn't, there was a mistake with the relations company. They got the information wrong. We're not saying that the headset is coming out, so to me, this comes down to one of two things. Either you were telling the truth and that the headset is coming out, or you outright lied. You deliberately lied to your investors to keep them invested into your company. I do not think this was a breakdown in communication between the developer and the relations company. I'm not buying that shit for 1 minute. So, Christopher, you said, is PSVR 2 really coming? I really don't know. But what I'm saying is about this developer is they would know more than I do. They're developing games for the PlayStation VR. So I'd imagine Sony got to give them some kind of information, in order for them to move forward and develop games for the PlayStation VR platform. They got to have some kind of information. Because I don't think it would be a case where Sony was like, here's a dev kit. Call us when you're ready to put the game on the platform. I'd imagine there's got to be some communication going on back and forth between Sony and that developer. So I refuse to believe that this was a breakdown in communication between the developer and the relations company. I'm just not buying that shit. So I feel like as a developer who's obligated to give information to investors, I'm led to believe that, you have an obligation to get this information right. And naturally, you would probably want to tell investors what they want to hear in order for them to stay committed to your company. So I do not think for 1 minute that was a mistake, that was some kind of breakdown. Like I said, I think it came down to one thing. It came down to one or two things. One is that it is true that the headset is coming this year, or they outright lied to their investors and just flat out lied to them. You said, Christopher Hart, devs drop things by mistake because they're on the inside. I don't think this was a mistake that they dropped this news. You're talking to developers. Not developers, you're talking to investors. In my opinion, it's probably investing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Obviously some of these indie games cost a lot of money to make, even though these are small developers producing these games. Because you can see by the Kickstarters, these developers, when they do a Kickstarter, they're trying to raise anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million. So if that's what you're trying to raise, that tells me that with investors, that's what at the very minimum, that's what they need from investors. 250,000, anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million. In my opinion, for this company to stay alive, that's the minimum that they need. And in order for them to stay invested in this company, to keep your studio alive, you better be telling these people what they want to hear. That we're going to make more money this year. And you're trying to tell them that that the PlayStation VR is going to launch this year. So that's going to expand the higher end user base. So we should see some more money coming in, yada, yada, yada. How do you make a mistake like that? How does that get lost in translation? So again, I'm not buying this shit for 1 minute. So if this shit is supposedly the truth, I still find it hard to believe that the relations company would just take that information and run with it, because the relations company, as well as the developers, know that Sony has been painfully silent this year and revealing very little information about the PS5. So, being that Sony would probably want these developers to keep their mouth shut and probably only giving them so much information, as the relations company that I'm supposed to take this message back to the investors, if they are saying that the PS5 and the PSVR 2 is coming out this year, again, I'm going to be like, wait a minute. What'd you say? PSVR 2 is coming out this year? Are you certain? Because I have to take this information back to the investors, and I want to make sure I got this right. I cannot believe that they would just say, okay, we'll let them know. And then that's the end of it. And then a couple weeks later, it comes out wrong. They coming back saying they made a mistake. No. If you made a mistake, that's something that should have been picked up before this shit even got released to the public. Before this news even came out public. That shit should have been fixed and corrected and caught back then. So I think the developers said what they meant to say. I think it's just a matter of whether they were telling the truth or not. But I do not think none of this shit was a mistake what came out. So let's move on to the next one. Excuse me. My list of subjects to talk about. What time is it? It's 10:30. Damn. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is the PlayStation Plus games coming up for February. I think there's supposed to be a BioShock game, Sims 4, and Firewall. I could care less about Sims 4. Actually, I could care less about BioShock. But I do care about Firewall being part of the PlayStation Plus for February. I think that is a huge move. I honestly think that I don't think giving Firewall away for free, I don't think that's going to sell any headsets, but I think it could sell some aim controllers. I think, Firewall is a game that you can play with the DualShock 4, and I do think that some people, once they get a sample of that game, they are going to want to experience the game with the aim controller. So I think this will sell a few more aim controllers, because honestly, as far as physical copies of the game goes, I don't know how well it's selling. I don't know how many people, especially I think the game has a permanent price of like $20 now, but yet I think the bundle, the Firewall bundle that includes the physical copy of the game. Well, I don't know if it's a physical copy. It could be a code for all I know, but it is a copy of the game and the aim controller. That bundle is still going for $80, but the standalone controller, I believe, sells for $59. So I think I don't know if this is a calculated move on Sony's part to try to sell some aim controllers. I'm just saying that I think this is what's going to be the result of them giving this game away for free. And not only that, they probably trying to sell a few microtransactions in the process, because I think they do have a season pass for Firewall. I think I bought one of them and never even explored what this so-called season pass is. And there's a couple of little rinky-dink microtransactions in Firewall that really don't bother me, but I think that part, I do think that might be a calculated move, is giving the game away for free, probably so they can get a few dollars off of the microtransactions, but which I do believe that's going to happen. They're going to get a few dollars off of microtransactions. I think people probably won't have much of a problem spending a couple of bucks on microtransactions if they get the game for free, and I think it could sell a few of the aim controllers, but I don't necessarily think that this game is going to move any headsets, because I think anybody who wanted a headset specifically for this game already has it. So I don't. So I think the only people this game is going to reach with it being free is people that already have a headset but don't have the game. So, but that's but it's still cool though. But I will say that I still think that as far as games that they've given away on PlayStation Plus, I think this is probably the biggest game. Firewall, I think it's the biggest game that they've given away since MLB The Show that they gave away. But when they gave MLB The Show away, as far as I'm concerned, even though the World Series was getting started, as far as I'm concerned, the game was out of season. So the game wasn't going to sell worth a shit anyway, so they might as well have gave it away free. Firewall, on the other hand, that game's not going to die because it is an online-only game, and it has a pretty strong user base. So I think that was an excellent move, giving that game away as part of PlayStation Plus. So we will see the community grow. It do expect a little bit of toxicity to come with this, though, because like I said, some of the slight toxicity that I have seen from the VR community has come from Firewall. I think there's some people that think they're a real life Rambo and they're taking this game a little too serious. So, but for the most part, the community over on Firewall is pretty positive. So, but great move on Sony's part. Glad they did that. Excuse me. Let's move on to the next subject because I'm just about done. Oh, here's an article right here that says Xbox is the only weak point for Microsoft's strong quarter. Ouch. Here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and post this on Twitter, and then I'm going to come back and talk about this Saturday on Live from Wakanda. So let me share this first. But I actually think that's part of what Sick was talking about, though. Because he's like, make this make sense. How are people saying that Xbox Game Pass is doing good, but yet the revenue is going down by like 11% or some shit like that? So, so I think that's what he's talking about a little bit on his podcast. Excuse me. Christopher Hart. Oh, yeah, the toxic gamers that are new to Sony, especially new to VR, will be toxic. Exactly. I said it before. Absolutely. I said it before. Xbox is absolutely the only weak point. But, I'll save that conversation for Saturday on Live from Wakanda. Moving on to the next subject, which... because I had to take notes so I could remember all of this. The Oculus Quest. I have finally come to the realization that I need a counterweight for the Oculus Quest. I'm starting to feel the effects of how front heavy the headset is, and I don't know why, but I always feel like I gotta have this thing by my side, you know, like a cuddly little dog. When I get ready to go live, I gotta have my Oculus Quest next to me because it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. But but you see by its build right there, it's a little bit front heavy, and it didn't bother me in the beginning, but yes, it's finally starting to catch up to me. When you wear this headset, if you relax for a split second, you'll feel the weight starting to pull your head down with this. So I was pulling on the back of it, you know, like as if my hand right here was a counterweight. I was pulling on the back of it to see how that felt, and it felt much better. So I do need a counterweight now. So what was going on with the Oculus Quest is I felt like the thing was putting pressure on my face when I would wear it. You know, I felt like the thing was sliding down my face, and it felt like it was like pulling on my eyes like this. So sometimes my eyes would feel strained after extended periods on the Quest. So I thought that was because of the face pad, you know. But now I realize is, you know, yeah, this face pad isn't as soft, you know, it's not terribly soft. But now I realize that the face pad, I think a lot of people, they're calling it VR face. When you wear this Oculus Quest for quite a while and you take it off, and I hate to say it, but you definitely see it with white people. Their face is all red around this area from wearing the Quest for extended periods of time. They're calling it VR face. Even though you can't see it on my face, I definitely feel it. You know, after I take it off, you know, I do feel it around this area. And I thought that was because of the face pad. Now it finally sunk in. It's not because, in my opinion, it's not because of the face pad. It's because this headset is front heavy. So now I've come to the conclusion that it is finally time to put a counterweight on the back of this headset. And then, like I said, when I was pulling on the back of it to kind of act as if it was a counterweight, it felt pretty good. So that is so that is something that I gotta address this weekend. I'll probably end up having to do some bootleg shit, you know, and I don't know, grab some kind of small weight, try to find something and tape it to the back of the Oculus Quest. But yeah, that is a definite must to put a counterweight on there. I did mention on the first part of this podcast before I lost my connection that there's 3 new Beat Sabre songs out. Like I said, it sounds like Japanese techno. I don't have anything against it, but it's just not for me, you know. But I'll still play those songs because free is still always the best price. And lastly, before I get ready to wrap this up, on Sunday I hit 600 subs. I think currently I am sitting on 601 subs. And yep, I'm sitting on 601 subs. And I definitely want to thank you all for it. This absolutely means a lot to me. You know, and I got much love on Twitter. You know, when I made the post that I hit 600 subs, and you know, I'm just as grateful today as I am when I first came to Twitter. I had a brain fart there. YouTube. I'm just as grateful today as I was the first day that I came to YouTube. I'll never forget that first video. And shortly after I put my first video out, King Thrash put a video out, giving everybody the breakdown on the latest things going on with Microsoft and PlayStation. And then towards the end of his video, he said, check out my man Lincoln Clay. He the new dude on the block. I think he's gonna have some good content, so make sure you check him out. That right there got me 17 subs. Right there, off the gate. And I think I think truthfully, I think Thrash was my first subscriber because I talked to him about starting a channel. Because if you guys follow me, Code Yogurt, thanks a lot, I appreciate it. If you guys remember my history, King Thrash is my favorite YouTuber. He's still my favorite YouTuber to this day. And even before I became a YouTuber, I became friends with him before I became a YouTuber because I had some theories, because I had some theories of what I thought was going on with Microsoft, and I was in contact with him. Excuse me. Through the PlayStation. Through the PlayStation Messenger, I was in contact with him that way, and I told him I was thinking about starting up a YouTube channel, and he said, "Do it." He said, "I'll be your biggest supporter," and so I made the channel, and I think I sent Thrash a link to the channel after I made the channel. And he subscribed to the channel, and I hadn't even put out a video yet. So I put the video out, and and in the video I named off some of my favorite YouTubers, and wow, Jay Wags was mentioned, and I mentioned Jay Wags in that first video because I think going back at it, I said Thrash, Big Cloud who went by the name of Ryan 5559876. However many digits that he had, he went by that name. I mentioned Jay Wags. I mentioned Fat Gamer. I think I had mentioned the Throwdown with Tony Polanco. Can't remember who else I mentioned, but I named off a few people. But after I made that video, the first two comments that I got was from Big Cloud. He said, thanks for the shout out. And then Thrash, sent me a message saying that he was humbled, by me mentioning that he's my favorite YouTuber. And he said, I think you're going to do big things. I think your channel going to blow up. And he said, we're going to work on blowing this channel up. So I'll never forget that. Remember, it's like it's yesterday. So, to my boy King Thrash, thank you for your help. Since I started up this YouTube channel, Big Cloud as well. Everybody who's been a guest on the Lincoln Show, Foxy, Porter Rock, Xbox Vidiot, even Gunru Gaming. He was a guest on the show. He's one of my friends off YouTube too. He lives a couple of miles away from me. And Titanfall Princess, definitely can't forget her because I think she still holds the record for the most subscribers that I got in one night. She was a guest on the Lincoln Show, and she was like, "Yo, because before she came on the show, she had tweeted it out that I'm going to be a guest on the Lincoln Show. Make sure y'all check it out. Make sure you sub to the channel." And then she, once again, like, yo, check his channel out. And so I think after she was a guest on the Lincoln Show, I had got 34 subs, so shout out to Titanfall Princess. And once again, to Titanfall Princess, I still haven't forgotten you. We still gonna take care of that PlayStation VR. In fact, when I went out today to GameStop, They a couple of days ago they had a refurbished PlayStation VR in stock, and I went to go pick it up, and when I got there, they were sold out. So I might end up having to go the eBay route, but I am still going to you know, see about getting Titanfall Princess a PlayStation VR. She's she's interested in it, so and I want her to join the VR community. I want her to come and join us. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but we're gonna go ahead and take care of that, and we're gonna get her a PlayStation VR. So, but other people that have helped me, um, gotta give a big shout out to Gamertag VR. I think through him, it exposed me to a UK audience, and truth be told, I think since becoming a member of the VR Link, I wouldn't be surprised if half my subscribers are from the UK. So now that I think I have enough UK subs that when I go live, I kind of have to take them into consideration because if I can plan it, I have to do it at an hour when everybody can see it. Because I'm sure a lot of our UK people are asleep right now because it's because it's probably going on 4 in the morning there. But I'm sure they'll catch the replay. So shout out to my UK friends. Thank you for the support. I definitely appreciate it. UK friends show me a lot of love. I definitely appreciate it. So what I plan to do for the 600 subs, I've been trying to figure out what to do because the last time I did a giveaway, our UK friends couldn't really get involved in it because what I was giving away was PSN cards that would probably only work in North America. So I said I got to find a way to get my UK friends involved. And I think the last giveaway, what I tried to do was probably say that they had to have a PayPal account, and I was just going to send them the money through PayPal if they would have won. This go round, I think what I'm going to try to ask for, because I'm going to do some giveaways, and I think what I'm asking for is that you have a Steam account. So, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably grab like one PSN card, and then I plan to go to G2A and buy some games off of there, because when you buy a game off of G2A, you get the codes. So I think what I'm going to do is buy a few games, get the codes, and hang on to those codes. And over the next week or so, during my podcast, at any given moment, you're going to see a code flash in the chat. So be ready. And I think by asking that our UK friends have Steam accounts, when I buy these games off of G2A, they're going to be global keys. So anybody can have a chance to win it. So, but I think at this point now, where we're at now, with me gaining UK friends, I think a lot of them already have PC VR. Or at least have a gaming PC. So if they have a gaming PC, it's a pretty good chance they have a Steam account. So I think we're at the point right now that everybody that's sub to this channel, either game on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC. And so one way or the other, I'm going to make sure that I can do some giveaways where everybody has a chance to win regardless of where you live. So that's why I think that I'm going to buy some global keys off of G2A. And then, like I said, throughout the next week or so, at any given moment through these podcasts, I'm just going to send a code through. And then at that case, it'll be a foot race for you guys to grab the code and put it in and see what it is. So, but I think what I'll do, the one part that I haven't figured out yet, I haven't figured out whether all these games are going to be VR games or if I'm going to mix them in and mix in some flat screen games. If I mix in some flat screen games, when I send the code through, I'll let you guys know what game this code is for. And then let's say I send through a code for a flat screen game. I'll let you guys know that it's a flat screen game, and then go from there. Or putting it another way, or if it's a VR game and I send the code through, I'll tell you guys what game it is. That way, somebody doesn't go off and download a code for a VR game and they don't have a VR headset. Because, with that being said, when I send these codes through, I'll let you guys know. Like, I'll send the code through. Boom, there's a code. This is what the game is. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. And with that being said, I think it's working its way towards 11 o'clock. You said Cold Yogurt, a Pimax 8K giveaway. Jeez. If I would get my hands on a Pimax, I'm keeping that shit myself, even though it might break. Cold Yogurt, you said devs rather design VR games than Xbox games. That's crazy. Crazy, but I believe that to be true because I did. I think the Oculus platform is the preferred platform the developers like to develop games for, as far as VR goes. So I think that is about all I got. I still have to finish getting my lunch together and all that stuff for tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Thursday. It looks like I do not have to work. So said a Cold Yogurt, Xbox always last place. Yeah, you got that right. So now that the Xbox One X appears to be down to a permanent price of $350, I'm led to believe that Xbox Lockhart, whatever the final name of this console ends up being, I think that console is going to be $400. I don't know if it's I don't know if this console is gonna be able to hit 4K, but I'd like to think that they should be able to make this console do 60 frames per second, whether it's 1080p or whether it's 1440p. But I guess to touch on that, I posted a link on Twitter. But I didn't read it, but the title said that Phil Spencer wants to focus on frames per second rather than resolution. And to me, that's like giving McDonald's a pat on the back for making fries. That's your fucking job. To me, I feel like Microsoft and even Sony, for that matter, have to focus on frame rate this upcoming generation because there's nowhere else to go. What would be the point in making these consoles do native 4K? To me, it would inflate research, development, and manufacturing costs for a feature that a lot of people won't be able to take advantage of. Because how many people are going to have an 8K TV? So with that being said, there's nowhere else to go except to focus on the performance, except to focus on frames per second. So, the way that headline read, it almost sounded like Phil Spencer was trying to tell people that, yeah, we can take it up to, we can take it up to 8K, 12K, whatever. No, it wouldn't make sense. Performance is the only direction you can go. Trying to focus on performance. There's no other direction you can go as far as I'm concerned. And I will say that I think that if these consoles can hit 4K 60, I think you guys are. I think you guys will like that a lot better. I think some people are gonna say, "Hey," I think when some of you guys get a taste of 4K 60 from these new consoles, I think because of that performance that you're gonna get, I think some of you guys might look back and be like, "Hey, I probably would have taken 1080p 60 in hindsight because over time my son went in that direction. Now frame rates are more important to him now than resolution. At the time that the Xbox One X came out, he was concerned about being able to play in 4K. But I guess I kind of created that monster by being focused on 4K myself. Then he was focused on HDR at one point, which and in a sense I created that monster too because I was focused on HDR. It to me it wasn't until I got a gaming PC and he started seeing the differences in performance when he played Gears of War on my PC versus when he played it on the Xbox, on his Xbox. He was getting, we're getting 60 frames on my PC, and that's because of the limitations of my TV, because we only could get, 60 hertz out of my TV. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that's all you need because from what I'm supposedly understanding, that the human eye can't see faster than 60 frames per second anyway. So I'm good with 60 frames per second. But my son said he could clearly see the difference between 60 frames per second and 30 frames per second. And now when he comes over and he's playing games, he's willing to lower the resolution in order to get 60 frames. So he's willing to play games at 1440p if he has to in order to get 60 frames per second. So with that being said, I think next generation when these new consoles come out, I think people are going to appreciate the 60 frames per second. So I want to keep going, but I really need to get up and take care of some shit so I can get ready for work in the morning, and then I want to get a little bit of VR therapy in before I go to bed. So with that being said, I definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in, and as usual, you guys kept the conversation going. We've been going on about an hour and a half, and I think the first part of this stream that got interrupted, I think went on for about 40 minutes before it got interrupted. So damn, in a sense, we've been on about 2 hours. So once again, everyone, thanks for getting me to 600 subs. I definitely appreciate it, but I definitely want to reassure everybody that I'm not a person that's got dreams of trying to have 10,000, 20,000 subs. I like things where it's at right now because, again, my channel's big enough that when I go live, there's always going to be people in the chat, but it's small enough that I can manage it, that I can pretty much answer everybody who's in the chat. When I see these YouTubers that's got 500,000 subs and they go live and they got 1,500 people watching and the chat's just going like this, there's no way they can keep up with it. So they kind of have to prioritize people on the super chats, to make sure they, get to some of these specific comments. Would I ever go that route? If my channel ever got big enough, I probably feel like I probably wouldn't have any choice, but I like it the way it is right now. again, big enough that there's always people in the chat, but small enough that I can manage it and respond to everybody, because I really do enjoy, talking to every one of you. So, but that's gonna do it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really, really appreciate it, and we'll see you on Saturday when I do live from Wakanda. I can't say whether or not I'll do a stream. Maybe tomorrow I could possibly do a Beat Saber stream on those 3 new songs, but everybody's pretty much already done it. I've seen several streams out there already over it, so maybe not. We'll see. But in any case, I do plan on seeing you guys in Wakanda on Saturday, and I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will catch you all